The hearing is getting underway over the future of the Federal Reserve. Fed Board Governor Lisa Cook is suing President Trump over his attempt to fire her. She calls it unlawful and is asking a judge for an emergency temporary restraining order. President Trump is responding in a court filing opposing Cook's effort to remain in her job and calling her request meritless. He's also arguing the allegations over Cook's mortgages is more than sufficient ground for removing a senior financial regulator from office. ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin has more on that. So, Olivia, what's the latest here?
Well, as you said, the court hearing getting underway just 15 minutes ago. Cook's team is in court. Members of the Justice Department are in court. Members from the Federal Reserve Governor's Board are in court, although they have said that they're not there to take a position. They're just there to carry out whatever order the judge ends up bringing down today. But yes, President Trump this morning asking the court in his filing to reject Lisa Cook's effort to stay as a member and as a governor there, saying, again, as you said, that her claims are meritless. And remember, Diane, this all comes down to the meaning of cause, because the president can fire someone from the board, but according to the law, he needs cause. So what the president argued this morning essentially is that he can basically decide what cause is, that it's up to the president's judgment, and that it's not really subject to court review, though he said if there is court review, it should remain minimal. So again, President Trump looking to have Lisa Cook off the Board of Governors. Of course, this comes as he is trying to get rates lowered as the Fed. He has been publicly pressuring the Fed to lower rates, so that has not yet happened, Diane.
Two of Trump's nominees already serve on the Fed board. What would Cook's vacancy mean for the Federal Reserve going forward?
Well, it would mean that he would get to appoint another vacancy. And remember, there was already another governor that abruptly resigned earlier this year. So that gives him two picks. And, Lisa Cook argues in her lawsuit that this actually isn't about what is on her mortgage statements, that they were just looking for any pretext in order to be able to oust her as a governor, and that this was just what they were able to come up with. She argues this is essentially political, part of what she says is Trump's sort of unprecedented takeover of the Fed, trying to exert that pressure. Also, the lawsuit notes that this is the first time that this has happened in 111 years of the Federal Reserve. So again, there's sort of two questions before the judge overseeing this hearing today. What is she going to do right now immediately, and what is she going to do in the long term?
So what are the possible outcomes here, and when can we expect a decision?
Well, part of what Lisa Cook is asking for is an emergency temporary restraining order. Oftentimes, judges want to act on that quickly. That's why she scheduled a hearing within 24 hours of getting that motion. So you'd have to think basically what the temporary restraining order asks for is to preserve the status quo while the larger case plays out. So she could say, you remain on the Board of Governors until there is a decision. She could say, you remain off until there is a decision. Or the parties could come to some sort of agreement, which is something we have seen in previous cases, to keep a status quo while the case plays out. But again, in the long term, this is a case that people say could go all the way up to the Supreme Court, because it's something, again, that has rarely been tested. The firing of a Federal Reserve governor, questions about what amounts to cause for a president to be able to do so, if that is in place here.
All right, Olivia Rubin, thank you.